Hey, thanks for joining, my friends. I sound like a bullfrog. Andrew Axum with Axum Outdoor Adventures, and we're doing another Slingshot Roundtable. And tonight we got a first timer that I've been wanting to talk to on here for a while, but I'm going to let everybody go ahead and introduce themselves. So, Dave, we'll start with you because you're on my upper left.
Hey guys, good to see you guys again. Dave Longworth, for those who don't know who I am, Celebrity Custom Slingshots. Andrew's been on me for 6 or 8 months about doing one of these. This just isn't my gig. So,
Well,
but here I am.
I realized as soon as I said a first timer, there was two of you that have been wanting to get on here, you and Jordan. So, do you have any other social media you want to plug, Dave?
No.
Okay, well, Liberty Slingshots is
Liberty Slingshots on the Facebook. So, and of course the Misfits page is where we hang out. A lot of us hang out at. So
yeah, you're one of the admins, aren't
you? Yeah.
All right. We'll go with the other first timer I've been wanting to get on here because he's on my lower left corner here. Smo from the Smo Show. Go ahead and introduce yourself and plug everything.
Jordan Smothers. I don't have a whole bunch of stuff that I care to plug. You can find me at Smo Show on YouTube. And I am a Simple Shot rep, so you can also go to the Simple Shot website and support the brand.
Excellent. I did that today. I spent about $168 on the website after I watched your live at lunch. I went and got a Axiom Pro because I realized I didn't have one of those. And then they said if I spent more, I could save 30% or something. So that sounded like a hell of a deal. So I spent more on I bought one of those pouches. Those are not the pouch. It's not really the pouch. It's like the bag, the sling bag they came out with. Bought one of those and some stickers, I think. So doing my part.
Yeah.
We'll go with Rex. He's down here beside Smo. Introduce yourself and welcome back.
What's going on, guys? Rex Lanes. I've got a YouTube channel just trying to promote the hobby. I've been fortunate to shoot with all the guys that are on here. All pretty cool dudes. So sit back and enjoy.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Good to be talking with you again. And last but not least, Leon. Go ahead and introduce yourself, plug your channel and all that stuff.
I'm Leon, the Squat Shot on YouTube and Squat Creations on Facebook. That's about it.
Yeah, I was watching a video recently. I'm trying to remember who it was, and they plugged your lanyard. They were shooting your lanyard. Whoever I was watching it, they was shooting your lanyard, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Bunch of guys are doing that lately.
Yeah, I'll remember who it is sometime during this conversation, but just realized the Hoosier State is pretty well represented here. Dave, you live in Indiana, right? You're in Liberty.
Yeah. Hence Liberty Custom Slingshot. So,
well, I knew you were from there, but I thought you still lived there. I knew Adam.
Yeah, I grew up in this town, and then when I got married there 40 years ago, I still lived in the county, but moved outside of town. And then now I'm back in town. Been here the last 8 or 9 years. So not too far from where I grew up, about a block and a half from where my mom still lives. So it's a Mayberry town.
Yeah, I stayed in the area that I grew up in. I moved not too far away, but to another part of the county, and then came back because it felt like home over here on the southwest part. The other end of the state. Smo, you're up in is it Portage area?
Yeah, I live in Portage now. I grew up in Cook County, Illinois, by the Brookfield Zoo. I lived in that town. So if anybody's ever been there, you're about a 5-minute walk from my house. But I moved out here after I met my wife, and we had some kids, and we wanted to be closer to her family. I grew up out here. But yeah, real close to where Gary, Indiana's at, if anybody's familiar. So way out there, way over on the other side.
We went up to the dunes to hike a couple of years ago on our anniversary. And when we were we were staying in this little roadside hotel in Michigan City, I think, and we didn't realize that the train station right behind us went into downtown Chicago, the South Line.
Yeah.
So instead of going to the dunes hiking, we actually went downtown and went to lunch and did a bunch of urban hiking, hiked around Chicago and stuff that day. I love it up there. We're going, as a matter of fact, my birthday was last month, and my wife is taking me sometime in June. We're going to pick a date and go up to Wrigley Field and see a Cubs game for my birthday. That's her gift to me.
Heck yeah.
I've seen you
Cubbies.
with the Cubs gear on before.
Yeah.
Cool. So one of the things that I like to ask people on here is how they got into slingshots. And I think I've asked both Rex and Leon that before. But both of you guys being on here the first time, I want to hear how you got into slingshots as an adult. If it was something you were into as a kid that you rediscovered, or if you never lost it or what. Go ahead, Dave. We'll start with you.
Funny because me and my wife were just talking about this like last night. But she actually said it. It's weird how 3 years ago you didn't own a slingshot, and Adam Cantrell came over to see you one day, and now you got like 400 slingshots, and that's scattered all through the house. But
Making them, yeah.
but Adam Cantrell,
400 in one room.
well, I got it between, yeah. This is the grandkids' room here, so I've moved into here with some stuff too. So I'm fixing to get booted out. But Adam Cantrell, I've known him since childhood. I'm safely 7 or 8 years older than him, but his family grew up just across the alley from me here in this little town of Liberty. So I've known him since he was in diapers, you might say. We've stayed in contact throughout the years. He lives in Oxford, Ohio now, which is about 15 or 18 minutes from here. It's another college town just across the state line there. So anyhow, he was I was into making wooden bowls on the wood lathe, live edge bowls and stuff. And he was coming over using some of my equipment to make natties, my bandsaw and stuff, equipment that he didn't have, cutting out natties. He just kept telling me, man, as good as you are at woodworking, you'd be great at making slingshots. And he finally brought some slingshots over one day and got to try and teach me how to shoot, because I shot. I'm just like everybody else. I had a wrist lock rocket as a child, and then that was the end of it, you know. But I do have an archery background, and I kind of feel like the slingshots and archery kind of is the same thing, you know. It's the same technique, you know, anchor point and follow through and technique and all that stuff. So I kind of picked it up pretty quick, but I struggled just like everybody else with fork kits and stuff. But I was determined that I was going to figure it out, and through, you know, shooting woods courses at Joe Stokes' place, and my first tournament last fall at Hawken Hills and stuff. I'm kind of like, I can hang with some people, but you know, some of them I won't ever be able to hang with as far as shooting as good as. But I sure as hell have a lot of fun.
Well, and we just had somebody else jump in here, so I'm going to get to them.
There they are.
But I wanted to address that. Yeah, I met you over at Joe Stokes's, and
Volume is very loud. No, sorry.
no, welcome. We're already recording, but we can edit anything out we need to.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, Rex. How's it going?
Oh, I got
Leon?
no complaints. What's up, Mo?
What up, Rex?
What's up, Joe? Gentlemen,
What up,
ladies.
Come on now.
Some smoke. We got some smoke in the house.
Leon? What up, Leon?
They got me in here, Moan.
What? Oh, damn, Dave's in there too?
Dave's
Nice.
here.
Hey,
Oh yeah.
It's my first time doing this. I don't have time for this stuff very often.
oh, you're going to make time.
Yeah.
Sorry we were late.
So, Smo, go ahead and tell us how you got into slingshots, and then we will go over and chat with Mona and Lori.
My story is
What up, bitch?
That's too funny.
my story is that I was in a spot where I was very, very broke. I was living in a small apartment, had a couple kids, and I was in a bad spot. And in order to kind of get my mind off the bad spot, I wanted to go make myself a bow and arrow because as a kid I shot archery a lot, and I thought that it would be something I could pass the time with and forget about my troubles. So I was too broke to get drunk, even. So I had to do something. And I went out and I went on YouTube and tried to figure out how I could make myself a bow and arrow. And my plan was to go find a proper tree and cut it down and make myself a stave and then whittle that away and make myself a bow and I'll do all that stuff. And through the magic of YouTube, I happened across a couple of videos by a large German man named Jörg Sprav. And he was having so much fun shooting slingshots. I thought that's way easier than making a bow. All I need is a tree fork and some latex, and the rest is history. I went out and I bought like a whole bunch of latex, but I couldn't afford very much stuff. So I tried to find the cheapest stuff possible. And even the cheapest stuff possible, 6-7 years ago was about some of the best stuff that was out there. So I started there and ended there. I guess it didn't end there, but that was my story. I got in it because Jorg looked like he was just having too much fun.
That's really cool. Is that guy still active on YouTube? Because I don't think I've seen his videos.
Yeah, he does a lot of various weaponry things now. So he's really into like crossbows and knives, and he does a whole bunch of stuff. But occasionally he'll still throw out a slingshot video. But if you go back about 7 to 10 years ago, his stuff was basically exclusively latex powered launchers, he calls them, and he was throwing all kinds of stuff, man. Bowling balls and harpoons and just crazy stuff. Machetes.
That's interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look him up. So it's interesting that both of you talked about archery and your interest in that. And I grew up right down the road from an archery club. So a lot of my neighbors were into it. I wasn't so much into it, but I was around it a lot, played with their bows and stuff. And I agree. I think it's very similar. And I hear a lot of people talking about making the crossover from one to the other. And it's just neat how, to me, it's cool that, like you talked about being broke, it's a cheap way to satisfy that desire that a lot of people have, not everybody, but a lot of people have for marksmanship. I remember even as a kid sitting with rubber bands and folding pieces of paper over, trying to shoot the paper, just that desire. It's just fun. It's satisfying. So, yeah, it's cool that it's such an affordable hobby and that it crosses over with archery because it does provide a more affordable alternative for that. So let's go over and introduce Moan and Lori because I've been itching to get them on here for a while too.
It's good to be here. We're glad we made it.
We're glad you made it too. So introduce, we all know who you are, but introduce.
Put that food away.
Watching.
Come on.
Cutting veggies and munching on them at the same time.
No doubt.
Bones usually either sanding or eating, one or the other.
Classic.
So
100%.
So you guys are down in the RVA area and you have quite a collection of people down there.
Yep.
I feel like we've been kind of trying to mirror what you're doing up here. And I say we just by proximity of miles, but Joe Stokes has really kind of spearheaded getting a group together on a regular basis up here. And
Yeah.
we've really admired what you guys have done down there. We don't unfortunately get together as frequently as you do, but tell us how that all came about, how you guys got into slingshots and just how the whole RVA empire started down there.
That's a loaded
deep
question.
question.
I mean, there's like multiple parts. It's multifaceted. So why don't you start with how you got into slingshot? Start at the beginning, and then we'll go on.
Okay, so I was going through some real tough times in my life too. Like most people, we all go through stuff, and I was kind of going through divorce and kind of feeling like everything was like, you're like losing everything. Which in truth, you're probably gaining a lot, but I wanted to get out in the woods a bit, and like Jordan, I wanted to get like a real nice bow. But a real nice bow was like $2,500.
Expensive. Back to the cost thing
Right.
that you all mentioned.
It was like it's like real expensive and whatnot. And so I decided that I'd buy a slingshot, and I saw the half-cock target sniper, and I saw the scout as being like the number one slingshots out there. You know what I mean? Like it was one of those things that you research products before you buy them. At least I hope people research products before they buy them.
Unfortunately, not as much as you
I
like
get
to
it.
think.
I mean, I get it. Anyway. So I came with the two and decided to get the scout. So got scout and bent it up and started shooting and really fell in love with kind of like the pro shot catapults. You know what I mean? They had, Gamekeeper John was probably the number one guy on YouTube, and as far as the influencers and on Facebook, that guy's work ethic was like crazy. We'll get back to that. But it was one of those things that I like kind of really enjoyed the trick shots, like trick shots is what got me into this whole thing.
It's like the fun, funky.
Well, I couldn't hit a can, and there were guys who could shoot pennies, and I was like, that's pretty amazing. And
start somewhere.
Yeah, I had to start somewhere, right? And so while everything else was going haywire in my life, I decided that I'd do something else for the public. I like people, and I don't think that's hard to see. I think Dave and I were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
Kind of obvious thing. Kind of hard to fake that or not be genuine about that, because it's just like people, man. It doesn't go away from me. I just can't believe that people are into something that I'm into. Good,
I can't help but always see the good. I love everybody.
I can't help it. I can't help it.
I'm like, I'm so like that.
But I'm kidding. I'm totally.
You're like, carry on.
And so anyway, a few months later, Pro Shot Catapults called me and said, "Hey man, Ian Jones, Skipman, the guy who started this whole thing."
Right. That's why we always we honor, and when he speaks, we listen.
Yes.
Right.
That He was like him and like five guys outside a pub, who started this whole British Catapult Association, English Slingshot Association, like all this stuff, as far as like making catapults something that everyone could be accessible, and inclusive. You know what I mean? Like, hey man, if you want to come shoot,
and welcoming.
Absolutely.
Inclusive is part of that.
Well, that whole hashtag One Love thing was like not just like a reggae thing. That was like something that was real dominant in the slingshot community in 2018. And so Ian said, "Hey man, we'd really like to have you on our team." And I'm like, "What do you mean have you on our team?" And I'm like, "Well, I mean, checking out the team of Pro Shot Catapults was like Ambrose Draper, John Webb,
like your heroes,
Gurno Mueller, like Darren Godfrey, Mark and Casey and Jones, like
I
was like, you guys want me to do what again? And so I'm like, that's crazy, because I'm at a real low point, and like somebody's like wanting me to be a part of something across the seas, And they're like, "Hey man, our first tournament,
right?
Yeah, they sent me a jersey. Pro Shot Catapults. I owe all this to Pro Shot Catapults and Ian Jones, to be honest. But they sent me a jersey and like frames and like welcome and say, "Hey man, our first tournament's in April." And I'm like, "Where is it?" And they say Cheltenham. And I'm like, "Cheltenham, okay, well, whoa. I'll be there." Like it is what it is. So I fly over to the UK and like hang out with these guys and can't believe I'm like meeting all my heroes, and like I'm starstruck the entire time, like anybody else who had
drinking like crazy.
I mean, come on, I drink those boys under the table. Give me a break. But anyway, just the whole atmosphere of, meeting all the people you had just seen in the magazines and stuff, man. I was so starstruck by all this, man. Chris, John Jeffries, like, everybody, man. It was so many, all the people we only get to see over the internet, you know?
Right.
And I'm having a blast with these guys. We have a great time. Adam Rayner picked me up at the airport, and I was just like, literally just way too much fun. Trust me. We could have gotten there sooner, but we were doing other things. Adam and I love that guy. Anyway,
Adam's quite.
Yeah, that kind of changed my life. And that same year, it was like Cheltenham, and then back to Sully Hill, and then ACC for South the Southeast back then. It was down in Dan Ambrose was down it. Yep. So it was like 3 tournaments and
sound like it was
3
an amazing
stateside and 3 international, including China in November. And then my life went haywire after that. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
China.
Those
were cool shots. Videos.
Okay, so no. Tell us how you got into slingshots.
Well, my first memory of slingshots is not you, Adam. Back when I was homeschooled in the country, do you all remember the plant that has the that you can fold and shoot?
The little
it's got a long stalk and then like a little head, and you can bend it over, and we would get we would have them. You get the big ones. I mean, we were like you as far as you could go. We would have like little comps like when we were little. So anyway, but then we grew up and a little bit of shooting. Yes, and then I met me. And of course, I met him through a makers group because I have an herbal body care business and I'm an artist. I went to school. The reason I can make the resin because I owe lots of money because of my 2 art degrees.
You have great degrees.
So I should be able to mix in colors in resin. But yeah, I met Moan, and at first I thought he was gonna, I have 2 boys, and I was like, oh, maybe that they could shoot slingshot. And then he was showing me the process, and he's a lot. He was sending me messages.
He's a lot.
Call right when I had class starting. I was like, because I coordinate an early childhood program at an art museum. So anyway, he made me a slingshot. We started hanging out. Just finally, I let him.
She never left. Adam. She never left, man. She never left.
Pretty much. So yeah, and I've been in it since then. And I love people the same way he does. I see the good in everybody. So when people are nearby, I'm like, oh, are you like that Wes Carroll? It says he's from Virginia, but he's actually moved out to Oregon or something. So I've been like, what are you doing? You're in Virginia. What are you doing?
She will Andrew. She will rope you in.
It's it was like 4 or 5 months of me just kept messaging Lillard. Are you ready to come? Are you ready to come? We're shooting this weekend. And now look at Lillard. He's right in the mix of everything.
There's like 20 of us now, man.
Sometimes people need that kind of persistence, though, because it's slingshot. So it's not a priority in people's lives who aren't into slingshots, but it's something that they may have a spark of an interest in. And someday they'll get to it, but if you keep bugging them and they see how much fun it is, you get them out there and
community, I think that, coming in and that excitement, the marksmanship, when you actually, you're hitting the target, you're seeing yourself get better. And then you've got all these people around you that are just jovial and having fun and eating good food. And, it's a cookout. I feel like I'm always like, you want to go hang out at a cookout with slingshots.
Exactly.
Every other weekend. Exactly. That's crazy.
And they are, our team is they're fierce. They have their own. I mean, every day we have a text group, and they're messaging about their animals or their family.
I love that. Because it's a family really more than a team.
It really is. It really is.
Rex and Leon, I know I said I'd already ask you guys how you got into it on previous episodes, but go ahead and recap for us since we're all sharing that. Rex, we'll start with you. I know you said you may be on a time constraint tonight. And by the way, I may have to do this as a 2-part video because I got so many things I want to talk to you guys about and ask you questions. But Rex, go ahead and tell us how you got into it again.
Well, I started, I used to compete with a bow and IBO all the time.
Here's the archery.
And, I've still got my old dinosaur hanging on a wall. It's old and it's slow, but you can drive a nail with it. And, age and a bad shoulder said, well, you can't do this much anymore.
Yeah, I think you and I did talk about the shoulder issue before because I got shoulder problems too, but they've been better since I've been slingshotting.
Oh Lord, yeah. The muscle groups that you use with a slingshot's completely different.
Well, when I was going to physical therapy, they were having me use resistance bands and basically slingshot without slingshotting.
Exactly.
So
I got to messing around, and I don't know if you guys remember this, but there was a certain news story, and the title was "I Got It as a Gift." And there's someone on here that kind of inspired me to get into slingshots. He don't know it. We've never talked about it, but one of the first people or person that I seen that was actually quite very, very good with the slingshots mown.
Oh, wow.
And he had done a news story that is floating around on YouTube. And I believe the
Oh.
title says, I got it as a gift.
Yep.
And that was kind of what inspired me to get into slingshots, especially after the bad shoulder. It got me to where I think that I would be able to compete again. And I mean, I'll never be a top 5 shooter. I know that. I wasn't a top 5 shooter whenever I competed with a bow, but it's the community that you become friends with and the people you become friends with that is what makes it enjoyable. You know, people that you can go throughout your life, and if you find 4 good friends in your lifetime, you're lucky.
Yep.
And in the community, there's a lot more than that. If you
Absolutely.
got an open mind and you take everybody's diversities and you actually just judge somebody at face value, how you're treated, how they treat you, how you treat them.
Yep.
And you can actually make some really good friends in this community.
Yeah, I certainly have. All of you guys, I consider my friends. Leon,
Absolutely, Rex. Love you, bud.
Leon,
Got it, Moan.
how'd you start? I know you told me, I think, when we talked before, but refresh.
I've always played with them, but I really got into it with Shane MacArthur when he started making his slingshots on Instagram. And then about 3 or 4 years ago, I really went down the rabbit hole, and then that's all there is to it.
Yeah.
Plus, they're easy to travel with, and you can play with them anywhere pretty much.
Yeah, it's an easy rabbit hole to get down. And a couple of things.
Just throw a kid walks out somewhere between trucks or wherever and play around, chase a can in there, and then go to bed.
Yeah. You know, there's a simplicity to it that I love. When I was a kid, my grandparents lived on a creek, and they used to keep old cane poles there for us to fish with because we always wanted to fish when we came over, but they didn't want to spend a bunch of money for us kids to go out and tear stuff up. And to this day, I have an affinity for old cane poles like that just because of the simplicity of them. And slingshots kind of reminds me of that, just something simple that you can do with kids that doesn't cost a fortune. While we're talking about some of the impact people on here have had, I also have a Moan Waller story. I don't think I've ever told Moan this because we've never had as much chance to talk at a tournament as I wanted, but you are who inspired me to start going to the tournaments. And it was actually watching a video and I heard your laugh. You and Fallon were standing at the practice range, and I heard your
That
laugh.
shit won't go away, man. It's awful. Like that.
I told my
It
wife
doesn't matter if you're on the other side of the mountain. We know where you're at by your laugh.
I told my wife, though, I
God.
said, look how much fun these guys are having. I said, that's a group of people that I want to go hang out with. So you are
You
man,
hear his laughing with a
Wait.
mini bike.
Oh my gosh. Did you see me standing up? I had so much fun. This is the third year I've been to the tournament. And every year Bill Steiner gives me the keys to that HEV.
Bad idea. Bad idea.
You saw Luke's video. I wish he was here. It was so amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Luke's
But
video
did you
was
see me? I was like
outstanding.
on the ATV. We had gone to get wood
He did a good
Saturday
job.
night after
Not in front of the children. Not in front of the children.
the second tic-tac-toe jam. It was cold. I was like, we got to have a fire at the campsite. So Luke came with me and we drove down the trail. There was a bunch of pine on the woods course.
Oh yeah, on hole 27, there was like a ton of pine. It was awesome. It was awesome.
You know, you guys talked about
anyway. Let me
Luke's,
continue.
Yes, go back.
talked about Luke's video. I wanted to brag on him for a minute. He was maybe going to be on here tonight, but something else came up. But I think he's kind of fallen down the rabbit hole that I have with videography and being interested in the cameras and the technical side of it. And I just wanted to brag on him for a minute because his video
It's a talent.
was outstanding.
Yeah.
He put
It's
so
awesome.
much effort into that, and I was just proud of him. And I sent him a message and told him that because we need more of that for the community. It needs to be shared.
Absolutely.
And present a package like that that's so appealing to watch. It'll draw people in. So I think that's great.
100%.
Yeah, because the only person who was doing the videos as far as ECST was Zach Fowler, right? And I still hear people from 2018 or whatever being like, "Hey, man, I saw you in a video of Zach Fowler. Is Zach going to be here? Hey, I saw you in a video of Zach Fowler. Is Zach going to be here?"
Right.
And it has gotten to the point now. It's like you can't continue to answer that question. You know, it's like I have no idea if he's going to be here, and that'd be great. But I'm glad that people who are also stepping up because most people's video lives are on their phones and there's no cell phone service there at all. So it makes it kind of tough as far as like doing live videos, like stuff like that.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
I mean, it's really, really tough, man. Like, I
hate
do
to
it every now and then
interrupt,
and when I
I'm
can.
gonna have to get off here. I
Oh.
appreciate. I'm gonna miss out. I hope to see all you guys at Hocking Hills, and we'll
Yes,
do some
Rex.
shooting, some
Yes,
talking,
Hocking
man.
Hills, baby.
We'll do some more of these before Hocking Hills, Rex.
All right, brother. We'll
So
see
jump
you
back
guys
on.
later. Leon, Moan, Lori, Axiom, you guys.
See you.
Dave. We'll talk to you later, guys.
All right. Take care, man.
Absolutely.
Join
Rex,
us.
you're awesome, man.
Have a good
Later,
night.
Have a
fellas.
good night, brother.
Later, lady. Later, fella. Bye, Queen Bee. Bye, Moan. Talk to you later.
Hey, bye, brother. That's it. I'll talk to you soon. Guys, yeah, the whole thing there is like no one ever has coverage, and so we try to do what we can as far as like shoot videos and whatnot, you know.
Right.
But Luke doing that, man, that was ace. That was like absolutely ace. It was so clean cut and
He spent a lot of time. He
Right.
worked on it
Put
really
a
hard.
lot of
He did.
effort into
He did
that.
a well job.
he
Good
did.
job.
And see what Luke talks about all the time, man, is that and I hope he gets to watch this because I can tell a triple story here is that Slingshot that bought him and his dad so close together.
Oh my gosh,
You would not believe
100%.
this. You would not believe this. Like, you know, let's just say they were at it for a while, like most sons and their fathers, you know.
Sure.
But
Larry
now,
would be like, he was always in the office. He'll talk about
oh
when he
my
was in school
God,
and how
Luke
he
was always in trouble.
And always in
Luke,
trouble.
don't hate me for saying this. Luke, don't hate me for saying this.
We
Luke was
can't
like
help
always in trouble. He was like
We're
wild
family,
child with a
we're family.
mohawk and all that, you know, like the crazy mohawk and
Oh my God.
completely like just, you know.
And now he's such a hardworking, upstanding.
Oh, dude, he's
human
like the
being,
best
and-
father ever. And him and his dad are so close now because of slingshots, man. Like it literally brought them together. Like
And he's got the bug bad. And I mean, he
And
can shoot.
I
And
love
Luke
their
can shoot,
family
dude.
too.
He can
They
straight shoot.
the whole family has always been just so kind and welcoming. You know, my first time at a tournament, I think they were there and they've been at every one I've been at, and they're just always
Yes.
a joy to be around.
They
So-
are. Becky is just Becky can TTF style, mind you.
Right.
Becky with the 3/8 can shoot, brother.
Becky can shoot.
Make no mistake, Leo. Becky can shoot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she
Straight
can
up.
shoot, dude.
She can outshoot Marshall on any
Any
shooting
day,
game.
I love it.
she's
I
just,
love
like,
it. Don't be
steady and
hating. I mean,
consistent
anybody
and,
can
like-
beat anybody any day. It's a round of cornhole or darts or pool or
Right.
anything else.
Well, Marshall can beat you if he's been drinking.
Look
Marshall-
at Dave laughing. Look at Dave laughing. Look at Dave laughing.
So yes, as you can see, we're a whole bunch of characters, but it's so great because we're all people. You know, it doesn't like all the kids will come and shoot. We'll have, oh my gosh, when Jensen comes with all his kids,
It's great.
you know, so it's like it's everybody, men, women, kids. You know, everybody's
Old people,
like
young people.
old
I mean,
people,
we
young
have
people.
6 girl shooters. That's pretty.
you know,
females,
people from all different backgrounds. So
Anyway.
So
yeah.
speaking of other people that have inspired me, Jordan, when I first got into slingshots, I found your videos pretty early on. So you're one of the OGs to me in my mind. And as I was watching
Yeah, 100.
your lunch afternoon shoot today, which I enjoy because I was off today, but I get to watch you shoot sometimes when I'm working too. So it gets me outdoors mentally with you. But I want to get a frame off of you because I don't have any of yours. I know you said you were working on some today, but that is something that I want to reach out to you about off of here sometime, getting a frame from you. But
Sounds good.
speaking of frame builders, I realized that I have
That handsome motherfucker right now. Sorry.
Look at me, or you look at
Speak again.
Mo.
Speak again so we can see you.
Boy, handsome guy. That's a pretty dude right there. God almighty.
Yeah, just take a gander right here.
You can't go wrong with any of these guys' frames.
No, that's what I was getting ready to say.
Pretty
I feel like
Irish,
we've got-
handsome.
There's one from
SOBU.
Jordan.
I feel like we've got
Leon
three
needs
of
to
the
braid his
premier
beard.
frame builders on here with us tonight. Dave, you mentioned earlier that you used to make bowls, and I saw some of your bowls back when I first met you. You were still doing those. I don't even think you'd started making frames yet.
Probably not, because once I started building frames, I dove down that rabbit hole, and I haven't turned a bowl in 2.5 years. So.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. If you make any more? Because I'd love to get one of those. You made some beautiful wooden bowls.
I've got a few here in the house that are the wife's, and
but
I could make them at any time. I just feel like if I'm out there in the garage, I need to be sanding on some G10 or micarta instead.
Well, one of these days, I'm going to hire you to make me some kind of wooden bowl. My wife has one that her grandfather made, and it's over 100 years old. But I've always admired wooden bowls just as art pieces, even like that. But
they are. I like doing anything that you're using your hands to build things, and
Dave, you would use a lathe? You would wooden bowls?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
we have a lathe. I really want to play with it.
Well, Moan showed it.
Well, we've got to get it started. He hasn't used it either. It's brand new. It's never been used, and somebody gave it to us, and so we rearranged. And I'm like, I got to get the wood. And like, my brother went to Appalachian State and did beautiful work. But
so
check it out.
I've got this $3,500 wood lathe set in my garage, and I make beads for my slingshots on it now.
Hey, but you know what? You make some beautiful beads. I didn't realize you made those beads yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if you pay attention, they all match the.
Well, I knew they did, but I thought you just
frame.
Ordered them that way or something. I was really impressed, but now I'm even more impressed.
Then he gets mad when you do this with him.
Yeah, he wants all the beads, but then he takes them off, puts them in a damn tray. I don't know what he needs to make a necklace out of something.
But you'd rather be making beads for slingshots than be making bowls.
Yeah, for some reason, I don't know why. I mean, I buy beads too. You know,
he's got the bug. I know.
When you have a lion's paw, you got to have a lion head bead too. So.
Well, I was trying to find.
It's so beautiful.
Has enough time in his life to make amazing beads, and I think it's awesome.
I have a couple of beads.
You know what beads look like? They look like Fred Flintstone tires. That's what my beads look like.
It's like a square. Clunk.
I have a couple of beads that David sent me that he found specially for me. I don't have any up here with me, but they got a little guy on them that looks like me. I don't know where he found it.
I've seen them. I've seen pictures.
That's like having a cast.
I'm telling you, they're the.
You move at AliExpress, you can find anything you're looking for, and you can find stuff.
Anything your heart desires.
Did you just give a plug for AliExpress?
I'm just saying.
How
he said, I don't know where you get them.
How dare you?
This is an international channel. What are you doing? How dare you?
Link in description.
Are you hourly? What are you hourly?
You can get them
hold
on.
Makes the world go round.
Yeah.
Hey, but I tell you what, I do like the lion beads, Dave.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Did you find them in the pouch? Did you?
And, yes, I did. I found them in the pouch, and I will never have to make a lanyard bead again. Love you both.
He's like, now we won't have any cubes. There'll be no Minecraft spirits coming at you.
No Fred Flintstone circles.
Well, speaking of art, we were talking about making beads and bowls and stuff. Lori, you mentioned having an art degree or something a few minutes ago.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I was I'm an art educator, museum educator, and so I have an art education K through 12, pre-K through 12, and then a painting and printmaking. So I got really, really into lithography, and I made big oil paintings with palette knives, and then I'm like, I only have so many walls, and I got to make money, so I kind of put a pause on that. But I dabble, and I have an herbal body care business that I kind of pivoted a lot of that creative energy. Plant medicine has always been fascinating to me. So
yeah, me too.
Here you go.
Oh, nice! Wow,
that's beautiful.
Live edge.
And Francesca Jordan, with herb spoons.
This actually,
that's gorgeous.
You see these inclusions here on this one?
Those
dark streaks.
Yeah.
This was a tree that was in a couple blocks over my wife's house that
some of them are, but not that.
It got struck by lightning. So this is actually bark that got blowed in there by lightning.
Holy cow!
Wow,
That's all market cruiser for a lightning strike.
So was it like a whole big piece of wood and then you put it on there? Look at
Yeah.
that.
That's Norway
That's
maple, which is coming.
He starts out with like a piece of firewood.
Yeah, piece of firewood. So
That's crazy. I do think that one of the cool things about the sling community is that everyone is so creative. You know, people make tools out of all these things. I mean, Leon with your paracord, you know, like it's so cool. You know, Dennis and Kristen Kurtz. I don't know if y'all know Dennis. He was camped with us, but you know, she started making these hats, and I was like, you should put like, you know, the different slingshot, you know, something slingshot related on the hats and sell them. Like, you know, we got Spanky Monkey with their you know, their amazing witty creations.
Yeah.
So everybody is like an artist or a creator of some kind, you know.
right.
I messaged Spanky and Mr. Spanky about coming on here sometime, and so hopefully they'll join us sometime. I didn't get to reach out to him before this message, but I've talked to him in the past over Messenger before about that.
Yeah.
They're very interesting people. They're awesome.
Yeah,
to
I'd love to sit and talk to him more. I don't get enough time at tournaments because I do like to go around and record and kind of try to document them for my own enjoyment and everybody else's if they want it. But it takes away sometimes from getting to talk to people.
It was just immediately pile it up.
Right. I feel like I don't get to go around and see everybody's tables. My goal next time is to like really walk around and see everything that y'all have, because I feel like we put on so much that I'm going from one to the other, or I'm decompressing, or I'm playing and then jumping back into work mode. And I did see some, but there was just so much. I mean, Luke's video like really showed. So I'm like, wow, I missed that part. I missed that. You know, I'm like,
yeah.
That's why I love
Guys
coming. I want to go to every tournament.
Practice range.
Yeah, practice range was good.
Oh yeah, RVA was in charge of that this year, weren't they? That was it looked really impressive.
Yes. So Luke came and got a load. I think he got the towers, and we had the ducks. Yeah, he got all the towers and brought them early. Came in, and he also put all the tarps down, and then and put those back up, and then we brought everything else. We had the truck full. I mean, it was packed to the gills. We almost brought a trailer, but that would have been so much more challenging to drive, and we could fit it in because he came. So then we came and then set everything up, and Uncle Larry with all of his lighters. He had like 400 lighters wrapped. And then Marshall brought, he goes down to Florida, so he brought a big box of torpedoes for us. But with the rain, we couldn't really enjoy those. But we were just ready to play with everybody. People brought cans, and hung them up. I mean, it was really epic.
It looked like a great time. I was under the weather after our trip, and so I didn't make it this year. But Jordan, she mentioned towers, and that made me think, was it you that I just saw posted a video of your ladder you built?
Yeah, I built that for to sort of copy what the RVA crew had there, because they have these like battle ladders, and
yes.
Okay.
Robert said they call them the family tree.
The family tree, yes, we
And,
do.
I thought it was great.
Towers.
Yeah, so you have to hit it going from the top to the bottom, and you have to shoot at the same one until it flips over. And I noticed that they had some of the smaller stuff. It wasn't the first things that you had to hit. So once you start working your way down, you run into these like really tough obstacles, and now you have to spend some time in that middle section. And
it's so mental. It's so
yeah,
mental.
I loved it so much. I had to come and build one, and yeah, I only have like spinners on it right now, but I got with the wheels turning for the other things that I can hang from those little sections.
Right.
That
Oh,
like
and the teams. I said next time we got to do the teams, but the tic-tac-toe was so much fun. It was like the brackets.
I think Adam actually ordered one of those tic-tac-toe stands from your buddy that makes those for you. I think Adam can't tell today he ordered one from him. So
from Key. Yeah.
He's supposed to bring it to Hawken Hills this fall.
And that's awesome.
So
well, I remember seeing Jordan, I guess it was your video. I see like all of my social media is for the most part slingshots or camera stuff. But I watched that video and I thought that was a really cool idea. And I was thinking it was you that did it, but yeah, that was neat